What's up, guys? Tugi here, back again with another episode of my Boston Bruins franchise mode series here on NHL 17. And in this episode, we are in a pretty tough situation. Obviously, the big moment of the prior episode was the Kyle Turris trade, trying to free up a contract spot and a little bit of cap space. The cap space might not be as much of an issue. The contract spots I really fucked that up. The cap space might not be as big of an issue, at least not, or it might be an issue as, wow. You know what? I'm leaving this in. See? Even I'm not perfect all the time. Cap space, not an issue. Contract spots, a very big issue. Boy, that was easy, wasn't it? We have so many prospects that need to be signed that we are in an incredibly rough spot. Now, goaltending-wise, we need to get Stuart Skinner and Alex Lyon back in the fold. That could be where our first issue is. We have Carlo, Morrow, Arneson. Right now, we can let go of Tyler Wotherspoon. He, of course, was just a tack-on. But we also have someone like Tommy Hedberg. We have Jan O'Coin, who we might have to let go of at the moment to prioritize better prospects because we, like I said, are in a pretty rough spot because of all the prospects that we signed in the last offseason. So, yeah. And we can actually let go. Is this Josh Patterson? Josh Patterson? It is a 6th round pick from our first draft. He can go. We need to play this very safe and very carefully. Low top 9s, low top 6s. These low top 9s are going to have to go. Jake Leschyshyn, who I'm pretty sure was on the Canadian junior team, and Cody Glass. Both might be decent prospects. We need to let go of them just to prioritize other guys because we're not going to be able to sign them otherwise. And if we decide we want them, maybe we'll make a move for them in the offseason. But let's see here. If we are prioritizing players, because like I said, we're still in a rough spot, we need to absolutely... God, man, I don't even know how we're going to make this work. I don't. I really don't. I didn't realize the situation was this bad. Like, I thought, we trade Turris and cap space is good. It's not the cap space that we had to worry about. It's bad enough that I hate to do this. We have to cut Alex Lyon right now, and then we'll try to get him back. I hate to do that, but that's probably the only way we can get Stuart Skinner into the fold. And then we're going to have to try and get rid of someone like Vehvilainen or Rusu. We have so many goalie prospects. We've never had this many solid goalie prospects. Carlo is a must. We absolutely have to bring him back into the fold. And honestly, a 3-year deal at 2.3, sounds good. Morrow and Arneson, we will hold off for the moment. Hedberg, we will hold off for the moment. Jan O'Coin, same thing. This is going to be tough. Austin Czarnik, Entwistle needs a deal. Oh my God, we've created such a mess for ourselves. I mean, we could potentially buy out players. I wish we could trade players right about now, because obviously that's a thing in real life, but not on here. Or even if it isn't a thing in real life, God damn it, we could at least make it work. Sign and trade. Something. But let's see. What can we do? What can we do? Strome has to be signed. Medium top 6. Matthew Strome needs to be re-signed. Jake DeBrusk, I would say, needs to be re-signed. And we can get him for 2 years on a 2-way deal. So that's not too bad at all. Then we have the likes of Jeff Skinner. And I think Jeff Skinner absolutely takes priority. He does. Jeff Skinner takes priority. Because I was thinking of this as well. With the Turris deal, we were able to trade him and a couple of picks to get Lampkin. Think of what we could do if we paired Lampkin with someone like Jeff Skinner. We could get one of the best players in the game. I'm not necessarily saying like Connor McDavid, but we could get an amazing player. The question is, what do we want to do with Skinner's contract? And to be honest, I'm all right with that 8-year total. I am. I mean, he will be 35 at the end of that. He'll be 35 at the end of that. So we have him for his prime years if we don't trade him. Let's move forward and see who resigns, because that was 5 contracts right there. And if all of these players sign, that's it. That's why we had to cut Alex Lyon. We absolutely screwed ourselves with how many players that we signed in the last offseason. Everybody we sent an offer to is accepted. But again, we're in trouble here. Cap space wasn't an issue at all. It was the contracts. Now, it still says we have 3 spots, which is good. But look at how many players, if I can get it to show up properly. Let's look at unsigned, technically? No. RFAs, we got 3 RFAs and a shitload of UFAs. So how are we going to make this work? Because we need to prioritize certain players over others. We really do. RFAs, so these technically count as guys who are already on the roster. Shit. Shit. We're going to have to lose some people here. We are. Okay. Let's go. Fuck, man, this is brutal. Oh, my God. Heinen. Okay. I have a plan. We'll tender all of those guys, or we'll just leave them as RFAs. We will leave them as RFAs, and we will focus on the UFAs. So priority is going to be re-signing Noel Acciari, which, I mean, I'm going to go 2 years because he might not be somebody that we keep. So let's see if we can get him at 2 for 2.9. Austin Czarnik, let's see. Let's get him on a bridge deal, 2.8. Joe Morrow, what can we get Joe Morrow for? About 2 years at 3.65. Again, most of these guys might not even be on the team. That is the problem, is we don't know what will happen with the progression. It is such a weird situation that we find ourselves in right now. So Czarnik, Morrow, and Acciari have accepted. What does that make our contract situation look like? Are we going to be able to sign any more? And it still shows 3. Okay. It's working out. It's working out right now. So if we were to prioritize this, the low top 9s, the low top 9 would go after. So let's go with Hedberg. Let's go with Hedberg, Entwistle, and Anderson Dolan just for a moment, because Forsbacka Karlsson would technically have been under contract. We're just chipping away at this. We just have to move, right place, right time to make this work. All 3 of them have accepted. We are very close to pulling this off somehow. Very close. Now it's showing 50. So we are going to have to risk losing Jacob Forsbacka Karlsson, Shaw, and Jan O'Coin. We have to risk losing them. I mean, yes, I could go and buy somebody out, but we won't. And then we have these 3 players as RFAs that we should be able to hold on to. This roster is going to drastically change. So we will sim forward. Whoops, that's right. I need to qualify them. Stop simulation, please. I forgot about that. You got to qualify them first. What the hell am I thinking? I'm freaking out over here, man. I'm freaking out. So let's qualify Danton Heinen, qualify Linus Arneson, and Solaric, with, of course, the intention of holding on to them. And we will take it from there. A lot of trades are coming up, guys, to clear up some spots, and we don't even know who's going to be available in the free agent market this time around. Let's take a look. Before anything else, the big fish is Ryan McDonough, Matt Duchene, Max Pacioretty, also available. There are some solid players out there right now. And of course, we need to worry about the goaltending situation as well, with Alex Lyon being a free agent. Although there are some decent... Sergei Bobrovsky's down to an 86. There is someone like Casimir Kaskisuo who is available as well. But I think the goal, of course, would be to keep Alex Lyon. So, I should have looked at the other let's look at the other prospects. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do first here, and I think the first step would be to make some trades. But let's take a look here. Prospect-wise, Karlsson, there really aren't that many great prospects. Of course, we had some of the guys that we let go of in this list, and it would be nice to try and get back those guys, but I don't know if that's possible. There's no, like, elite prospect that we absolutely have to get, so that's good. But, man, this is going to be tough. This is going to be very, very tough. First trade, guys, you knew it was coming. And we are going to attempt to send the trio of Marminland, Rusu, and Outhouse to Chicago, who could, in fairness, use the goalie help. They have Corey Crawford and Joran van Pottelberg, I believe is close enough, who was the one of the stars of the World Junior Tournament. We're going to try to get a first and a second from them for these guys. That won't go through, but we are still going to attempt to get their first. How about a first and a third for a trio of solid goalies? It's close to fair value. All right. So as a favor to you, we will also tack on Oljevik. We're going to prioritize Skinner, Sawchuk, and Herme as opposed to the high AHL guys. So we're going to prioritize those three goalies right there. And of course, this should open up space to get Alex Lyon. Sorry, I did it again. Alex Lyon again. So let's see. How about a fifth? That should go through. Absolutely. And it did. So we got Chicago's first, third, and a fifth the year after. Not too bad at all. So let's go to contracts, and we will attempt to get some people signed. And hopefully we have the money to do so. So that is not the trigger that I wanted. We need to go to goaltending. And we need to sign... Can we get Sawchuk, technically? You know what? We don't even need him. We will go with Herme. He will be the tandem with Stuart Skinner. Now that we have him signed, we can go trade Vieni Vevalainen. Actually, you know what? We won't trade Vevalainen until we know for sure that Alex Lyon is back with this franchise. That is going to be the key. So let's go get Alex Lyon onto this team, shall we? He has proven to be more than worthy of that spot. Let's sign him for 2 years. I'll go even 1.9, and hopefully he accepts. Hopefully he doesn't get that many offers. And then prospects, nobody that we have to worry about. So that is good. If he signs, the defensive situation is figured out, or the goaltending situation is figured out. The defensive situation is pretty much figured out. I mean, we're not going to be in for McDonough or Stahlberg or anybody, really. I mean, because we just don't know what the progression is going to be from Cholowski, McAvoy, Carlo, and Grzelcyk even. So I think we are pretty much good aside. The one thing I'm worried about, though, is Arneson. Is if we resign him, he's technically resigning as a free agent. So if we get rid of him, that's a problem. So I'm kind of hoping the three guys that are restricted free agents right now end up getting signed. So here's the deal. While there are some prospects that I would love to approach, they're not the greatest, but they are at least half decent, I'm going to try to keep the team together. I was thinking, maybe letting someone go like Arneson, letting someone like Arneson go as an RFA would be a good call. Instead, we're going to try to re-sign him, Heinen, Solaric, Forsbacka, Karlsson, and Lyon. And we will see if they accept. If they do, we will take it from there, depending on who is still available at the time. Again, we're not going for like the McDonoughs or the Silverbergs of the group. The good news is Lyon, Arneson, Solaric, Heinen, and Karlsson have all accepted. So, depending on who is still available, our next move might be to be. My God, I'm falling apart. It might be to go out and get somebody else, but 49 out of 50 contract spots, we'd potentially have to make a few more moves. So I'll be right back, either with more trades or probably with more trades, depending on whether or not we're at the start of the preseason or not. Now, I told you guys that there was a chance for a blockbuster. This just isn't what I had in mind. The Kyle Turris deal, I told you when we acquired Lampkin that there was a chance we could go out and get somebody, but there's been some really interesting progression and regression of some players that leads me to this. Brad Marchand. We have to choose between Marchand or Jeff Skinner. In real life, the Bruins diehard in me would pick Marchand. Although you could argue Jeff Skinner. We're going to hold on to Jeff Skinner. Austin Czarnik. His spot, despite him being amazing in the playoffs, Zachary Senyshyn has earned that spot. Vehvilainen, he is just, we have Stuart Skinner now. Tyler Seguin and Denis Gurianov would be perfect acquisitions for this team once you see what I'm looking for. Now, we are going to have to tack on just a little bit more, and yes, it's funny that in this series I went out and I got Seguin and I got Dougie Hamilton, but it's what needs to happen. This is going to go through, so let's see if we can get a little bit cheaper on them. Save ourselves a third-round pick. Wow, we just saved ourselves a third-round pick. That's amazing. I'm glad I double-checked. Can we actually just do it for a sixth, or is that too low? All right, a sixth is too low. So we are going to make this deal work. And like I said, just wait until you see the completed product. But Brad Marchand, Austin Czarnik, Vehvilainen, a second and a fifth for Tyler Seguin and Denis Gurianov. Holy shit. I can't believe that just went through. He's a blast from the past. We are going to look to trade Noel Acciari to Vancouver for Cole Castles. Let's see if we can make this work. That third round pick was a little bit too much, but I still am somewhat determined to make it work, although it might not. So let's downgrade a little bit, and that's kind of what this trade is a little bit of a downgrade by sending Acciari out west. That will go through. I'm content with it. Noel Acciari off to Vancouver for Cole Castles and a couple of draft picks. Next up, it's Sven Johansson and Huntley, who we just drafted. We're going to attempt to get Hunter Smith from the Calgary Flames, giving them two prospects, so I don't think will turn out to be much. We'll tack on a fifth and see if that goes through. It doesn't. Will it go straight up? It will not, but it's close enough to fair value that we can just tack on a late pick, even a seventh, and that should hopefully go through, and indeed it does. Hunter Smith, welcome to the Bruins. Not that I want to make them any better, considering they took us to overtime in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, but it's really the only team that we can get a deal to go through right now without taking somebody back. Joe Morrow, we're going to attempt to send to Calgary for a second and 2/3. That's just slightly off. A second and a third I'd actually be all right with, and that is indeed what happens. Joe Morrow is off to Calgary, and we need to trade one more defenseman, and that would unfortunately be Linus Arneson. He's off to either Vancouver or San Jose, depending. And I think it's probably going to be the Sharks. We're going to have to take somebody back, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And actually, can we get any decent prospects out of this? Do they have anybody? This is Noah Gregor, I believe. You know what? He might not be a bad shout. We will tack him on in this deal, and we can also look to get some draft picks here. It really sucks to give up Linus Arneson, but you can guess as to why he is on his way out. We have had some interesting progression, as I've said. Now, that's going to be way too one-sided in our favor, but we're going to make this work, and we're going to get as much as we can from the Sharks. Now, of course, they have the rebuilder tag, so they're not exactly looking to give up these picks. That went through. Could we have gotten more? Sure. But Linus Arneson is off to San Jose for a prospect and a third-round pick. And one last trade here, guys. I don't expect this to go through, but We're going to look to offload some prospects. Ong, Elnuik, Paquette, Stollard, and Oscar Steen. Guys who are, just been kind of replaceable. There's no way this goes through for these draft picks. Actually, if I take off the first, and that actually went through. 2 seconds and 2/3 over the next 2 years for a handful of decent prospects, all medium bottom 6 potential with the exception of Elnuik, who was low top 9. And that brings me to the roster. A lot has changed. We still have some decisions that could be made, but let's take a look. 92, 90, and 92 for the ratings down in the AHL. 82, 80, and 76. So here we go. And you guys will understand some of these trades in a minute. The new top line. Jeff Skinner with Tyler Seguin and David Pastrnak. All legit first-line forwards. All first-round picks. This line should dominate. Second line is where it gets interesting. Now, of course, we acquired Denis Gurianov as well when we picked up Tyler Seguin. He looks like a solid prospect, of course. And spoiler alert, I went through and changed the rosters again after the World Juniors, so someone like Gurianov in a new series will be even better than he already is. An 86 when we got him, now an 85. He will be even better. David Krejci, second line forward, and Stromwall. Now, here's the thing. He's listed as a depth forward, so in my mind, I'm like, okay, we could play him on the fourth line, we could play him down in Providence, but at medium top 9, is he going to get that much better than an 84? I doubt it. He's going to cap off at an 84 or an 85 at the best, so that is why I'm all right with playing him on the second line. I mean, it's just his defensive and physical category that really screws him, but we know offensively and as a skater, he is a legit NHL player. The new third line. Danton Heinen, who pretty much takes over for Nola Chari's spot. Legit third-line guy. Still has a chance to reach an 84 or an 85, much like Stromwall. Patrice Bergeron has plummeted in terms of role down to a third-line scoring forward. He's an 88, but again, you could kind of consider this him taking over for Nola Chari. That is why we had to go out and get Tyler Seguin. Zachary Senyshyn as well, normally an 84. Keep in mind there's going to be some issues with morale at the moment. And of course, that is going to be a factor. Hopefully I don't lose the right to sign people after trading the likes of Linus Arneson and Joe Morrow, but you never know. But Senyshyn is there, and he is Zarnik's replacement. Zarnik, of course, I believe 27, so kind of expendable. The new fourth line. This is where it gets really interesting. Jesse Gabrielle is really the reason as to why this has happened. A 79 overall, a fourth-line forward. I want to see if he progresses, especially with high bottom 6 potential. Kind of the same situation Anton Bleed was in, but we will see if he progresses. That is why we went out and we got Cole Castles, who was normally an 84. But again, you got to factor in the morale system and Hunter Smith, who could potentially do all right. Quite the physical player. Defensively, we traded Morrow, we traded Arneson, and this is why. Of course, Torrey Krug is still here, as is Dougie Hamilton. Cholowski is up to an 85. Of course, he's actually an 84 right now. Disappointing. Matt Grzelcyk still an 85. Zaboral, top 6. He's normally an 82, 83-ish. That is why he is here. And of course, Carlo, who unfortunately has dropped back down to a top 6 defenseman. I just don't know if he's going to make it beyond what he is right now. But Zaboral is here. Somebody isn't, and you'll notice that in a second. The goaltending, though, of course, is Tuukka Rask, who is a little bit pissed off at some of the people we have traded away, and Alex Lyon. So not too bad. An interesting take on this team, but first line, full of first line as far as depth, as far as player role goes. Second, third, of course, second with the exception of Stromwell. You get the point. Looking at the AHL, though, Jake DeBrusk is an 84. Much like Stromwall, he's listed as a depth forward, but he's medium top 6 and he's 22. So that's the question. Do we put him down in the AHL in hopes that he reaches, a third line guy, a third line role, or do we just bring him up to the NHL right now? Which, if we do, we would probably end up trading away Danton Heinen. So let me know what you guys think there, but I am concerned about DeBrusk's just his progression at this point in general. Obviously, the rest of the team, just a bunch of prospects. Defensively, though, Charlie McAvoy was an 82. Again, affected by people that we have traded away. Still, regardless, minor league top 2. So he will have one more year in the minors. But much like Grzelcyk, good enough as an offensive defenseman to be there. It's just a matter of whether or not we'd want him to improve. But again, we don't really have an opening right now. You talk about prospects that we have. Carlo, Zaboral, Cholowski, McAvoy. We have a logjam on defense right now, and we need to see how the progression pans out before we really make a decision. But Riley Stillman and Ralph Jarrett are in the team, and as far as backup defensemen, we have Tommy Hedberg and Wes Rogers. The goaltender is Stuart Skinner with Hanu Herme as the backup. So we are in a very good spot as far as prospects and as far as the main team goes right now. I mean, especially, too, with that top line. But that's the thing. We've been taking the wait-and-see strategy, and crazy things keep happening, like, Carolina being like, hey, do you want Jeff Skinner? So you just never know what's going to happen. And the plan wasn't to make this team look unrecognizable by the time we step into Season 4, but that's just how it's happened. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it for this episode. This team is set. I do, of course, want to know your opinion on what we should do with the likes of Jake DeBrusk, but everything else, it's just kind of a wait and see, and who knows, maybe this team will be successful. The only thing we need to hope for is for players to bounce back after losing morale, and to hope that I didn't lose my right to sign free agents, but we will find all of that out and more in the next episode. Until then, guys, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to hit that like button to help support me and my channel. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others, and I will see you guys when we begin Season 4.